What's up, everybody? Welcome to Heresy Financial. My name is Joe Brown, and today we are looking at some recent news. China is taking another step forward with their central bank digital currency, the digital yuan. So they've rolled out a few new features. They're expanding the trial, and so if you weren't aware already, obviously they are experimenting with a new digital currency. They started this a couple months ago, and today we're going to look at what those new features are and what that might mean going forward and for future rollouts down the road. Ready? Let's dive in. All right, so China is expanding its trial of its central bank digital currency, the digital yuan, and the main new feature that they've rolled out that they're experimenting is kind of a tap to transfer. And so people can transfer money to each other simply by touching their phones together. Now, the stated goal of this feature is to make digital currency usage more similar to physical cash usage so that, if you have to give somebody money, you normally just, hand it to them. So this would make it, you just touch each other's phones together and that would transfer the money. Makes it a little bit more convenient than having to go through the process of typing some things into an app. Now, obviously, this is not revolutionary. This isn't going to drastically change the function or the real purpose behind having a central bank digital currency, but ultimately it's just, turning up the temperature a little bit more, that slow boil, boiling the frog alive type of thing where you want to get people more and more comfortable with using features of a digital wallet so that adoption is faster and simpler and has less friction. Now, this feature rollout, very small, up to about 1,000 people are going to be able to access this new feature. But the expansion of the overall trial is much larger. They're expanding the digital currency trial to about, I think, another 100,000 people in the new city that they're expanding into right now. And I'm not even going to try to actually name any of these cities. If you want to read the article, if you're not aware, every single week I send out an email, a newsletter. It's free. It's just like 4 or 5 articles that I've found helpful or that I've liked or enjoyed reading throughout the week, and you can sign up for that in the description below. But this might be one of those articles that makes it out this week, talking about the different approaches that they're taking to rolling out their digital currency in the different cities. And ultimately, the goal for this is to have it fully fledged out, the system in use by as many people as possible by the time they host the Olympics. So they're a little over a year out from that, and so they're going to be rolling out this digital currency trial to more and more people until then. And the timing of this latest one, it looks like it's geared so that they can test heavy usage for December 12th. Now, December 12th in China, apparently it's kind of like Black Friday in the States. It's a day where stuff online goes on sale a lot. And so JD.com, that's an online store that they have in China, will be accepting payments of this digital currency. And so they're looks like they're trying to test out the system to make sure it can hold up under heavy usage. Now, you might be thinking, okay, what does this change though? How is a digital currency different than any money we use is already digital? It's just digital in my bank account. Nobody really uses cash anymore. And so what is the difference between a central bank digital currency and just the money that everybody uses already today? And I've made detailed videos about this before, but in short, instead of having your money in a bank account, your money is held at an account directly with the central bank. So right now you might have your bank at Chase or Wells Fargo or Bank of America. So in the case of the United States, a digital currency would mean that instead of having a bank account with a bank, you have your account and your money held directly with an account at the Federal Reserve. Now, the reason why governments and central banks all around the world have been talking about trying to move towards central bank digital currencies is because, quite honestly, it gives them more control. And so if, banks already, if you have a bank account with somebody, they can stop transactions. They can reverse transactions. Like if you have a fraudulent charge on your account, you can call them up and say, hey, pull that back, right? And so it allows greater control from a centralized perspective. So if the government wants to stop certain types of transactions from happening, let's say, they want to ban gun sales, right? So if you have your account with your central bank at the Federal Reserve, you're not going to be able to use any of that money to purchase something like a gun if they decide, hey, that's something we want to stop purchases of. In China, as they've rolled this out, you can't use your digital currency to buy gold. You can't use it to buy other currencies, which kind of makes sense, right? They're rolling out a trial and giving people free money through this lottery system, so they don't want people to use this just to exchange it out for a different form of money. They want to test out this money system, how it works. But I could absolutely see that just being a permanent feature, and features that other central banks around the world roll out, because why would they would need to incentivize the usage of the new currency in order to, cause it to be used. They wouldn't want people to just be able to dump it for Bitcoin or gold as soon as they get, their digital currency. Part of the point is to lock down control here. And so that is one of the main features, is control. The second feature is information, because right now the access to all of the kind of like the metadata, all of the information about how money is being spent, it's not as readily accessible, especially by policymakers. And so from a policymaker standpoint, centralization is king. And so if you can have all the information coming in, allegedly or theoretically, it would give you the ability to make better decisions about policies. And so if you see, too much froth, or if you see too much slack in certain parts of the economy, a central bank would be able to partner much more closely with Congress or the taxing authorities, or the fiscal policy, basically, is what I'm getting at. You get a closer tying in together of monetary policy and fiscal policy, because you can see all the transactions. You can say, hey, there's slack in the economy over here, and there's too much over here, and so let's impose an instantaneous 5% tax on these types of transactions, and we'll give a tax credit or a tax deduction on these types of transactions instantaneously in real time. You wouldn't have to go through legislation to roll out many year-long tax plans. You could adjust fiscal policy dynamically in real time in order to try and control the economy. Now, I think if this gets rolled out anywhere, fully fledged out as I'm describing it, it'll end in, utter disaster and destruction. But that is kind of the end game. That is kind of the goal that policymakers are thinking of when they're, trying to plan for having a digital currency. It's really for censorship, to stop or reverse transactions that happen. And it's really for information and control, to make things more expensive or cheaper dynamically in real time across the economy, to try and fine tune the economy to, do whatever they want. And then lastly, it would be to be able to cause inflation at will whenever they want, so that they can, award themselves, the government, spending power much more easily than they can right now. They don't have to go through kind of the legal loopholes to, step over the red tape of issuing debt, selling treasuries, and all of that. You'd be able to much more easily have spending power awarded to the government, much more easily implement price controls and things like that in order to cause your policies to happen as you wish. So China currently is the leader on this front for digital currencies, and central banks all around the world are taking note and will likely follow their lead, especially if China rolls this out faster and faster and is able to develop systems for cross-border payments and starts to allow people from other countries access. And so we'll see how this goes. But ultimately, right now, they are continuing to push this forward, and it might only be a matter of time before you have to decide between using a completely centralized, controlled form of money, or getting yourself into a completely decentralized and potentially even black market system for money, something like Bitcoin, or maybe even physical gold, physical silver. So what to do next? Well, number one, if you haven't signed up for my newsletter, which I mentioned earlier in the video, you can do that. It's linked in the description below. It's free. I just send out some articles that I've read and that I enjoyed from the past week. And number two, if you'd like to dip your toes into getting into a monetary system that's outside of the current money system, start getting into gold, silver, Bitcoin, I've got my recommended sources linked in the description below. As always, really appreciate you guys. You're the best. Have a great day.